Hello, students. Today we are going to do this poem, The World is Too Much with Us, and the poet is William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was born in 1770 and he died in 1850. So he was a romantic poet. Romantic are those poets who fancy about things, who see nature in a different perspective. So in this poem also, Wordsworth is talking about the gap that has been created between humanity and the nature. As the title of the poem suggests, the world is too much with us, that we are indulged in the worldly things. World here stands for worldly things, materialism, that we have become so materialist that we have forgotten everything about nature. So poem starts like this. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours, we have given our hearts away as sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. So these are the 8 lines. So you can see that this is an octave. 8 lines, we call it an octave. And the next part of the poem is sestate. So we know that a poem that is divided into 2 parts, an octave and sestate, is called as Petrarchan sonnet. 14 lines. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. So in the first line, the world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. The poet William Wordsworth says that we are getting and spending. We are getting and spending late and soon, whatever the time is, whether it is the morning time or it is at night. What we are doing is we are wasting our powers. We lay waste our powers means we are wasting our powers in getting and spending. Getting what? Getting money, getting wealth, and then thinking about how we are going to spend that money, spend that wealth, where are we going to invest that. So in this way, the man, the human being of Wordsworth's time, and even now in the present time, we also can, this poem is equally relevant, or we can say more relevant in the present scenario. The world is too much with us, that the people, the human beings, are so much lost in the materialistic things or materialism that all of their powers are getting invested in earning and spending money. Next, Wordsworth says, little we see in nature that is ours. He says that we hardly take a look. We hardly, badi mushkil se, take a look at the beautiful scenes of nature. Little we see in nature that is ours means that we do not look at nature, what it has to offer us. We have given our hearts away as sordid boon. We have given our hearts away. हमने हमारे दिलों को बेच दिया है. We have given, दे दिया है, बेच दिया है our hearts away बेच दिया है, we have sold our hearts, or we can say we have sold our soul. So did boon, sign of exclamation. Now here Wordsworth says boon, a sordid boon. Boon means ek vardhan. Vardhan is something that does something good to us. But if it is but he calls this boon or vardhan sordid. Sordid means bad, bura. He calls it ek bura vardhan. So what he's referring to is that it is not a boon, but ये वरदान नहीं है, लेकिन अभिशाप है कि हमने हमारे दिलों को बेच दिया है, हमने हमारी आत्मा को बेच दिया है उस दिल से, उस हृदय से जिससे हम थ्रू विच वी फील समथिंग, हम कुछ महसूस करते हैं. वी हैव सोल्ड दैट हार्ट. दिस सी दैट bears her bosom to the moon. Now Wordsworth is talking about the beautiful scenes of nature. He says this sea, he is talking about sea, samudra, that bears her bosom to the moon. He is here talking about an incident, a happening that occurs at night when moon comes closer to the sea, and because of the gravitational force, this water of the sea resides, or we can say the sea recedes from the shore. And in this way, or in that moment, we can observe, we can see the surface, the bottom of the sea, which is when there is moonlight. The winds that will be howling at all hours, the winds, हवाएं that will be howling at all hours, जो 24 घंटे बहती रहती हैं, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. But now, when the poet is sitting at this shore, there are winds, but they are blowing softly. The wind is blowing, gentle breeze is there, like sleeping flowers, as if the flowers are asleep. So this air is not disturbing them. For everything, we are out of tune. So in this line, Wordsworth complaining that for this, or for everything, for this, whether we take this happening or this activity when the water of when sea recedes, or this blowing of winds, this howling means the sound of the blowing wind. Whether we talk about this or that, we are out of tune. Whether, since it is related with nature, we are out of tune. We have no time for this. हमारा नेचर के साथ, प्रकृति के साथ कोई तालमेल नहीं है. आउट ऑफ ट्यून मीन्स कि हमारा इसके साथ कोई तालमेल नहीं खाता है, नहीं बैठता है, कि हमारे पास इतना समय नहीं है कि हम नेचर को बैठकर देखें. In the next stanza, which is assestate, Wordsworth says, it moves us not. He says that it moves us not. These beautiful scenes of nature does not affect us. No longer we take pleasure in them. Great God, I would rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So now, Wordsworth is with pain, expressing his pain at this, his He says, he prays to God, great God, I would rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn. He wishes that he, rather than being a Christian, it would be better if he were a pagan. Pagan was an old Greek religion which is now outworn. Outworn means no more, no longer it is practiced. Suckled means getting nourishment. Wordsworth is saying that if I were a pagan, I would have been getting nourishment from this religion that is pagan, because pagan, the followers of this religion worship nature. They worship nature. They find gods and goddesses in the objects of nature. So in that way, he also would have been close to nature. He would have been established a connection with nature that now, as a Christian, he has lost that contact with nature. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, so might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. So might I, so that standing on this pleasant lea means grass fields. So when I am standing on this grass field, I might have glimpses. Glimpses means nazare, the beautiful sceneries of nature that would make me less forlorn, that would have helped the poet, would have make him less lonely. Forlorn means lonely. His feeling of loneliness might have been reduced. Have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. So next two things he also adds in this: Proteus and Triton. Proteus is a Greek god who is considered to be the god of sea, who takes many shapes in sea, who can take many shapes. Or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn, or he could hear the old Triton. Triton is also a god who is considered to blow his horn, that is wreathed. Wreathed means bend it. मुड़ा हुआ ऐसा horn वो बजाता. So in this poem, the Wordsworth is basically feeling bad that we have lost our connection with nature, and so in the octave part he talks about solution problem, and in the sestet he talks about the solution, that how he would resolve this problem. So he finds his way that by being a pagan he can establish his relation with nature again. So this was the poem. Thank you.